take you up to one of my many favorite places here, and this will give you a hint. Butterflies just love the few areas in drought-stricken California that we actually have water. They're just kind of everywhere. So what's really cool about the mountains is that, you know, we have all the typical dry areas and things like that. But then you get down in some of these little valleys where there's some kind of spring-fed whatever, and you get microclimates. So like that's white alder right there, which is nowhere else where there isn't water. And a little bit higher elevations like we're at now, you get that's a acorn cap from the tan oak. We're just kind of going to move along here so you can get to this awesome spot. And you know, these little valleys with the water, it just cools off by about 10 or 20 degrees. It's awesome. Another white alder tree. Down in these wet areas we still have little bits of moss even in the middle of the dryness, and ferns. So you get these microclimates that are just amazing, and the flora and fauna just changes. So it's so easy to know from a distance you're underwater just by looking at the nature of the trees in the distance. How awesome is that? The cleanest, coolest water you could ever hope to find. just spent the last 10-15 minutes hanging out with this herd of deer. I don't know if you could see them on camera, but they're mostly gone now. They went around the other side of that ridge, but they were just all hanging out. They came, as I was coming up, they came up this way, right through here. I went up here and just stopped and hung out, and watched me for a while. And I just stood there, made a little noise, waved at them, and they were just kind of made them comfortable. And then they just, some of them went up into there. And then a few just kind of hung out here and just kind of watched. Just kind of like sentries or something. But that was really cool. It's kind of always a bummer when they leave, isn't it? So, anyway, so I managed to make it to the top of these falls by a very roundabout way. There's more falls above the falls. I'll figure out what these are too. They're absolutely huge. Oh, there's even more. I have to slide down this part. Battery's almost out. That's the usual spot down there. You can see people. That's all for now. Battery's going. Bye, guys. It's good to seek out these old areas, these old controlled burn areas, because the low intensity fires keeps the upper story alive, but the undergrowth is gone, so you can roam at will. It's just beautiful. It's nice to be able to get off the beaten path. It's a good hike today. Went to the lower falls like I showed you, and then discovered a way to get to above the falls, which I've never found before. And so it's kind of a worthwhile adventure. Saw a small group of deer that was hanging out up here a little bit ago. They hung away at a nice distance, but just kind of hung out and watched me for a while, and I sat and watched them for a while. I didn't get it on film because I don't know, didn't want to spoil the moment, I guess. That is Douglas fir, small pine cone. You can see it's got the little, right there, little forked tongues that stick out. It's Douglas fir, which you probably have in every lumberyard by wherever you live. Now you know where it comes from, out west. And this is ponderosa pine. At higher elevations, typically Jeffrey's pine is very similar. This is a pine cone, medium size. It's got these little spikes that stick out. And the tree itself, the bark is very unique, and it almost looks like puzzle pieces. So that's a ponderosa. And now, there's a sugar pine around somewhere. See sugar pine cones all over the place. And these can get much bigger too. Basically elongated. Generally it's got some good resin on it, and they have that thick stem on it. That's a sugar pine. And there you go. Generally those start to crop up at a little bit higher elevations, so maybe 2,000–3,000 feet they start to show up. squirrel sign everywhere. That's the core. See where it pulled off all the pine cone leaves, if you will, to get to right off the core to get to the seeds. Nuts. There's more. Yeah. They don't go for the old ones. There's a fresh one over here. What are you squawking at? A pretty fresh one there. Absolutely beautiful scenery. Okay, it's a bitch when you leave your hiking stick all the way at the top of a hill that you just came back down. You have to go all the way back up and get it. Don't do that. Especially when the knees are starting to get sore from going downhill. So, we all forget something once in a while. Just glad I remembered it before I got too far. Another one of those sugar pines. It's a big one. This is Douglas fir, the pine cone I showed you earlier. Firs generally have these short needles and lots of needles together like that.